This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. It was great seeing everyone at the Greater Louisville Hamfest. It seemed to me to be an increase in the number of vendors, flea market sellers, and the number of attendees at the Hamfest. It was a great Hamfest, and special thanks to all the volunteers who helped put this great event together. It was good seeing our ARRL Great Lakes Director, Scott Youngley, N8SY, who was there manning the ARRL booth at the event. Congratulations to Brian, W5MX, who was selected as the Kentucky Amateur Radio Operator of the Year for 2024 for his work in installing repeaters in Eastern Kentucky. Also, congratulations to Ray Anderson, K4RAY, who was given youth recognition for being nominated for Ham of the Year. Major prize winners were Neil, KO4LAR, who won the Anytone AT5888 UB dual band transceiver, Charlene, N4JIL, who won an MFJ 2289 Big Ears dipole antenna, and David, KD4YGM, who won the MFJ 939 HF auto tuner. Ron, KN4WZ, won an MFJ 1982 MP 300-watt end-fed antenna, and Bill Breiniger, who won an LFF atomic clock with 9-inch LCD display. Congratulations to all! The Greater Louisville Hamfest group is already gearing up for next year and hope everyone marks their calendar for September 6, 2025 for the next Greater Louisville Hamfest. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society had a great turnout for the annual Bars Picnic with over 50 attendees. Fox Hunt was a great success. Also, congratulations to James, K3OB, who was presented with the 2024 Ernie Farmer Memorial Award. The OHKYIN Amateur Radio Society and the Queen City Emergency Net announced that they're giving classes for amateur radio licenses and upgrades. They will start with the extra class instruction, which because of the nature of the material to be covered will run 7 weeks. The class will start on Monday, September 16, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Red Cross Building, 2111 Dane Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. It will run until October 28. 2 weeks later on Monday, September 30th, also at 7 p.m. in the Red Cross Building, instruction for the general class and technician class, which is the entry-level amateur radio license, will be offered. These classes will go for 5 weeks, ending October 28th as well. A testing session will be held on Saturday, November 2nd, 2024 at 10 a.m. at the Red Cross Building. To sign up for these sessions or to get more information, please send an email to hamtutor@OHKYIN.org. 2 amateur radio balloons were launched on September 5th at 5:30 p.m. One with helium, which is the APRS balloon sporting the call of AI4SR-5. And the other is a hydrogen balloon sporting a whisper with the ID of KY4EOD. It is always fun to track the progress of these balloons. Check them out. Congratulations to Chance Duff, who passed the technician class exam at the testing session at the Morehead Amateur Radio Club meeting. The OHKYIN Amateur Radio Society had a successful Ohio Parks on the Air event, where they had 134 QSOs contacting 28 state parks for a claimed score of 3,752. To give some perspective, last year they had a score of 3,432, and in 2015 they had a score of 3,666. Congratulations! The OHKYIN Amateur Radio Society will continue the tradition of participating in the November ARRL phone sweepstakes, and Eric, N8YC, will be hosting the event at his QT8. He already has a full roster of operators signed up, but invites anyone to stop by and perhaps be paired up with someone to get some operating time and give someone a break. If you have questions, reach out to Eric, N8YC. On September 14th, the MONIX Group will hold a combined meeting at 6 p.m. at the Donato's Pizza, 15 Donnemeyer Drive in Bellevue, Kentucky. If you're interested in listening to radio signals of all kinds, come on out to the meeting. On September 14th, the Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association will be setting up the MCOM trailer for the Burgin Fall Festival on East Main and Sycamore Street, where they'll be operating using the club call sign of N4LCA. For more information, email Mike at mike@mcrhome.com. On September 14th at 1 p.m., the Brunch Bunch will meet at the Acapulco Authentic Restaurant, 5953 Boymel Drive in Fairfield, Ohio. On September 15th at 7 p.m., tune into the new Comers and Elmers Net on the OHKYIN Amateur Radio Society repeater of 146.67 with a PL tone of 123.0, where Robert K4PKM will help all those who are moving to get their general class license and enter the world of HF radio with all the information that they can use to maintain that transition smoothly. On September 16th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be meeting at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Stay tuned to learn about the presentation for this meeting. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association will be working the Lake Cumberland Air Show at the Lake Cumberland Regional Airport on September 21st, where they'll be setting up the MCOM trailer and demonstrating amateur radio to the visiting community, as well as setting up a speaker for the audio from the performing pilots at the air show. If you're interested in this event, reach out to Mike, KY6MM. The Air Force Marathon is looking for amateur radio operators to volunteer to provide communications assistance for the event on Saturday, September 21st, in the area of the National Museum and the U.S. Air Force. For more information or to volunteer, email Bob, n8ado@afm.hams@gmail.com. On September 23rd at 7 p.m., the Amateur Radio Emergency Team of Northern Kentucky will meet at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. This will be the first meeting of the new directors and should outline the future training, projects, exercises, and other interesting things the club will undertake. So if you're interested in helping with amateur radio emergency communications, come on out to the meeting. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association on September 28th will be at the Sumernites Cruise Corvette Summer Showcase, again setting up the MCOM trailer and running a special event station, K4S, again this year. If you're interested in this event, reach out to Mike, KY6MM. The third annual Summits on the Air Kentucky Campout will be held on the weekend of April 12, 2025 with the pancake breakfast at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. Make your reservations now by calling 606-589-2478 at the Kingdom Come State Park, which is a primitive campground with limited running water and privy toilets and the nearest town in Cumberland, Kentucky. For more information, contact Michael and 4DCW.
Repeater news.
David, AD4CC, reports that he has put an amplifier on the 441.800 WW4KY repeater with a PL tone of 179.9 in Walton, Kentucky. He has hardline and tower in the works for future improvements. Stay tuned and listen out for this repeater growing.
Hamfests.
On September 14th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the Richmond, Kentucky Hamfest at the Madison County Fairgrounds, 3237 Old Kentucky Highway 52 in Richmond, Kentucky. On September 14th is the Mound Amateur Radio Association Hamfest Swap Meet at 900 Mound Road in Miamisburg, Ohio, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. For more information, contact Jason, N8CMM, at jspot1677@gmail.com. On September 22nd is the Cleveland, Ohio Hamfest at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds, 164 Eastland Road in Berea, Ohio. Talking on the 145.410 repeater with a PL of 110.9. September 28th is the Paintsville KY4ARC Hamfest at the Paintsville Recreation Center, 232 Preston Street in Paintsville, Kentucky. For more information, go to ky4arc.com. The Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society in Lexington, Kentucky Hamfest, originally scheduled for October the 5th, has been canceled. October 5th is the Northwest Ohio Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the New Hope Christian Center, 2240 Batty Drive in Elida, Ohio. Talking on the 146.670 repeater with a 118.8 PL tone. October 5th is the Scioto Valley Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Pike County Fairgrounds, 311 Mill Street in Piketon, Ohio. October 19th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Laughley Valley Fall Hamfest at the Bright Indiana Lions Club, 2160 Lamplight Drive in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. October 27th is the MARC Hamfest at the Military Aviation Preservation Society, 2260 International Parkway in North Canton, Ohio. The Grant Radio Club has announced the return of the Georgetown, Ohio Hamfest this year on November the 9th from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On September 14th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/session/WC8VOA. On September 14th, the Richmond Hamfest will have a testing session around noon. Go to kn4s.com/amateur.html. On September 15th at 2 p.m., the Geauga Amateur Radio Association will be holding a testing session at the Geauga County EOC, 23518 Merritt Road in Chardon, Ohio. For more information, contact Jacqueline at email n8jmw2@gmail.com. On September 16th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by emailing Mark Volstead, AI4BJ@MVOLSTAD@TWC.com. On October 5th at 10 a.m., the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Sharon Center Methodist Church, 6407 Ridge Road in Wadsworth, Ohio. Please pre-register at w8wky.org/license-exams. On October 5th at noon, the Lake County Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Kirtland Library, 9267 Chillicothe Road in Kirtland, Ohio. On October 12th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On October 27th at 8:30 a.m., the Massillon Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the MAPS Air Museum, 2260 International Parkway in North Canton, Ohio. On November 9th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On December 7th at 10 a.m., the amateur radio exam session will be held at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. You must register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WX4GPS. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KY6MM, KE4WA, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, and 8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.